I'm live. Okay. I started to watch Stormy Weather with Lena Horne and Bill Robinson, and I'm sort of, oh, geez, I hate that. I'm going to start disconnecting from. I get bugged by such stupid things. Anyway, I started to watch. It's a black movie, and I'm 78. Okay, so growing up, I never heard anything negative other than I didn't know anything about Africans. We didn't have them where I grew up in Northern Ontario. And my mother would use the word darky when she was referring to a movie. And I didn't see anything negative about that. I mean, their skin was certainly dark, and so were East Indians. Native Americans didn't have really dark skin, so that didn't seem like such a bad word. And then later I heard the word Negro, and being the kind of person I am, I looked it up in the library. I wanted to know what it meant, and it meant that they were from Africa. So again, I didn't know anything about slavery. We didn't have that kind of history in Canada. It was British history and French history, and not much French either, to tell you the truth. It was mainly British, and most of it was quite fascinating. Elizabeth I and Mary Queen of Scots and all of that. And I liked the costumes, and I became very fascinated with history. As I got older and wound up in a community of Jamaicans and Trinidadians because of the music and dance. And then from there, I met a young lawyer that was Canadian and black and gorgeous. And if things had been different, I think I would have married him. But by then, I guess it was around 25, 26, the prejudices became very apparent to me. And looking back, when I was a child, what interested me was the music and the dancing, or the story, the history. And I was always annoyed by Al Jolson in blackface. And we didn't call it blackface, I just called it paint. You know, I'm just a kid. But I thought it was really stupid, and I didn't understand it. And then when I would watch something like Stormy Weather, I was even more annoyed because I didn't like the way so many of the movies had African Americans in that black paint, and I couldn't understand why they were doing that. I thought it was ugly. Then, as time went on, when I would get bored with my research, I'm finished, by the way, 36 years of research into diets for disease control, and I worked my butt off because I just discovered that, I've known for 2 years I was going to die from COVID-19. I'm one of these people that gets visions, and I just know stuff. So I was prepared financially and with my will and all of that to take care of my partner, Dan, who's taken care of me for the last 36 years, on and off. And he helped me take care of my mother. So, and make arrangements for a few friends of mine. So I'm prepared. But then I discovered that all my research and all that work, 36 years, was going to disappear because there was no way I could keep the websites going. I thought I could just pay them an amount so that they wouldn't take it away. But no, it doesn't work that way. I'm only allowed to pay for 2 years in advance. What a bunch of dummies. I was willing to pay 30 years and they only want 2 years. God, I tell you, in this COVID-19, I hope some people out there learn to get a little smarter, because there's lots of ways you could be making money. But anyway, I get sidetracked, but getting back to the blacks, it really bothered me what happened to make the word Negro so negative. So I looked it up online, and it started with the civil rights movement, and one of the civil rights leaders referred to themselves as black and used the word black power. Makes sense. But what about all those black people that are the same color almost, but they're from East India? What do we call them? Anyway, I know it's kind of silly, isn't it? And that's me. I ask all these questions, curious. But I am also very bothered now. I'm a big fan of TMZ, and I watch it because I want to understand the black community better. Because it's not something that I have a great connection to. And then I discovered that we have a lot in common. They're dying like flies. They've got the same, they don't appear to have the same condition as me, but they do have the same immune deficiencies that I have, in the sense that COVID-19 is killing them. And it kills people like me very quickly, anybody with an impaired immune system. So it's kind of funny, after all these years, I looked at this movie and I said, now, I can't watch a movie. I've got to know what happened to Bessie Love. Who is she? I saw her last night in a movie. So I have to go online, and I got to look up the autobiography, and I got to know who she married, what happened to her children. And gee, that poor woman, she had my kind of luck, all bad. And she was so talented and so pretty, just bad luck. But the blacks aren't doing too well in COVID-19. But I just wanted to say that I love the music, but it really aggravates me to see blackface. And I know there's nothing you can do about it. These movies are from the 20s and the 30s and the 40s. And they are historic. You got to leave it in. But I do want to finish off by saying one thing to all black Americans and black Africans and black Jamaicans and wherever. I personally left New York because of the racism. And I gave up amazing opportunities because of racism, because I am the opposite of a racist. And I am really offended by you rappers using the N-word. I don't think it's appropriate for anybody. And I really wish you would grow up and stop using that friggin' word. I didn't like it when I was a child. I heard it once. And I'd done enough research to know that that was not a nice word, that it was negative. And I'm not going to tell you who said it, but I was very upset with him, and I gave him a blast. Yeah, I'm going to tell you, it was my father. And he never said it again. And I'm talking 1947, 1952. I was just a kid. But see, I was in the library at the age of 7, and I had gone through the children's library, and I was in an adult library, and I knew that much. That was a bad word. And think of me as your grandmother that could have been if I'd married him. It's not appropriate for anybody. If Negro has been removed from the dictionary, then by gum, you stop using that word and stop using that excuse that you're taking your power back. No, Black American, that's taking your power back. Black power, Black liberty, Black freedom. But the N word, no, that's disgusting. And you have no right to use it. I don't care what your color is. And I had to get that off my chest because I'm going to die soon, so I've got the right to say that. Right. I think it's really inappropriate. And I wish they'd get an education and stop using it. And I'm really hoping that they pay attention to their diet. Because that's why you're dying like flies, people. You didn't feed your kids right. And I know you were in poverty. Well, guess what? I was on the streets retarded in a gas mask, and I'm not supposed to use the word retarded. Well, I couldn't read or write, lost my memory, couldn't speak beyond the level of a 5-year-old child. I don't think there's anything wrong with the word, but I don't use it in any of my writing because the handicapped said they didn't like it, so I won't use it out of respect. But stop using that word. It's disgusting. And do try and not kill yourselves, because right now that's what you're doing. All those people like Martin Luther King that fought for you, take a good look at yourself in the mirror out there partying and screwing around and using that word and breaking quarantine and killing each other. Shame. Shame on you. Educate your children better than that. There's no excuse, because I couldn't read or write at the age of 42 and I was a genius in the investment market, and it took me years. And what did I do? I did it by correspondence. I worked with a dictionary. I worked in the library because they wouldn't let me go to school because they thought I had AIDS. So you can do better. I don't care who you are or where you are. You don't have to behave like animals, and that's what you're doing. Too many of you. Shame on you. And you can teach your children better than that. And the good news is you don't have to go to college to do well in life. There's so many ways to learn now online. To hell with the college and their $200,000 debt. Phooey on that. Don't buy into that white man bullshit. You don't need it. Educate yourself. I did. I'm just not making money because of very personal to me. I was very wealthy, and it didn't save me from a terrible disease and a fate worse than death and brutal torture by doctors, by society. And I was beautiful and I was the right color. No. So don't make that excuse. And I say this to you as if you were my grandchildren. Okay? You can do better. I want to see you survive. I know I won't be here, but I'm going to be watching you from up there in that other dimension. And I want you to do better. And I love you. Good night.